We're here with Terry James with RaptureReady.com. Terry is a prolific author specializing in Bible prophecy. Glad you could be with us, Terry.
Thanks so much, Todd. I'm glad to be with you.
Terry James, and we're glad you could be here. Tell us about your latest book that's getting ready to come out, Terry.
The book that's supposed to be released within a couple of months is Cauldron, and Supernatural Implications of the Current Middle East is a subtitle, and it just deals with all of the things going on, particularly centered around Israel. Of course, that's what I believe end times Bible prophecy is, as far as geopolitically, is dealing mainly with what's going on in Israel. And so I take the reader back all the way back to Genesis, actually 3:15, and bring the reader forward to the very end when the Lord has finished dealing with the nations of the world. So it's just a broad, general, sweeping, and very reader friendly. Most of my books, and I'm accused by my editor of being a little bit too highfalutin in my language, and I don't mean to be, but that's my style. And this one, she has really kept me, I guess, governed or bridled, and I think it's the most reader-friendly book we've done, and I believe that it really tells a story of why there's such hatred for Israel from the very beginning, and why the hatred has built to the point it has at this point in history, and where it's all taking us. Of course, you know, in general terms, we who study Bible prophecy know where that's all taking us, but this kind of gets into the details historically and in modernity as to what it's all about, the hatred, why the intense hatred, not only of Israel's immediately surrounding neighbors, but the hatred that is building in the entire world community against Israel, which is, you know, if you don't understand Bible prophecy, where it's been, where we are now, and where it's going, from a biblical prophecy perspective, then the average person, or most people, have no idea what it's all about. And they see Israel as the true burdensome stone, as it says in Zechariah chapter 12. But of course, Israel is not the fault. Israel is not at fault so far as Hitler and others have accused that nation of being Christ killers. That is not. We all put Jesus on that cross.
Right, our sins did. That's right.
Our sins did, and so unless you understand where it all came from, you don't understand where we are now, where we're going. So that's what this book, Cauldron, is all about.
I understand you dedicated the book to the late Zola Levitt.
I did. Zola was a dear brother and friend, and highly respected him in every regard. And my goodness, he left such a legacy with this ministry, and all of the things he left us. I still enjoy viewing the programs from week to week. That, especially because you excerpt some things Zola has done, and it's just like Zola, being there with Zola again. And of course, I miss him so much, and I know we all do. And so it's a very great privilege to be able to dedicate a book to Zola. But Israel, he loved Israel so much.
And you know, your website that you and Todd Strandberg do, RaptureReady.com, it is correct me if I'm wrong, it is one of the top visited sites on Bible prophecy.
It is the top as far as number of hits, both unique visitors and number of hits. It is the top Bible prophecy website, and we don't say that with a lot of pride, but what it shows is a tremendous opportunity it offers to really help people understand what's going on in these times, and particularly to point people to Christ. That's our whole purpose.
Yeah, I've had a few articles on there myself. You were kind enough to put them on there.
Yes, you have, and we appreciate your contribution.
Yeah, I want to try to put some more on there in the future.
You're always welcome.
So Cauldron, getting back to your book, it's the idea of things are bubbling over, right, in the world.
That's right. It's a white hot almost. You know, if you think in terms of seeing the old steel plants with the big the white hot
steel,
the steel pouring out of them, and tipping over and pouring out for the process that they were going through. That's what cauldron is, except it's bubbling and boiling and is about to blow over, roll over the sides. And our book, I think, helps explain very well not only where things are going, but how to deal personally and as a nation with those things. And this nation's in trouble because of our many sins, but one of our primary sins, I think, is a tendency to turn away from Israel, our dear ally. That I really believe that Genesis chapter 12 is going to be in effect for America very soon if we don't get back to blessing Israel.
Yeah, it's very disturbing what's going on, particularly with Iran now. We were interviewing Yoram Attinger, who's a former ambassador from Israel to the U.S., and he said that the same person that was negotiating with Clinton to get North Korea to stop, producing a nuclear weapon, and that failed, as we know, is the same person now, I forgot her name, he mentioned her, is the same person now who brokered this deal with Iran, and to me that's the definition of insanity.
Insanity,
right?
Exactly.
Which is what?
Keep trying to do the same thing over and over and failing every time.
Yeah.
And that's insanity. That's what the unofficial
yeah,
definition
it's
is.
just, it's crazy.
Well, it seems, the powers that be in control of things, they seem to do the same, because they do have a reprobate mind. God finally gives humanity off to a reprobate mind. I'm not so sure we haven't reached that point almost nationally, particularly among our leadership.
Yeah, I concur with you. I wrote an article recently called Romans 1:18 through 32, the days of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. And when you start, particularly within the context of Romans 1, you start advocating and openly and aggressively pushing for ungodly lifestyles.
That's right.
God says the moment when you start doing that, then you reach a point where He gives you over, like you were saying.
A reprobate mind.
And we are at a very dangerous precipice at this point.
And
this nation is.
And it seems that no rational decisions seem to be coming out of Washington. And there's got to be a reason for that. Well, I think it's sin blindness.
Yes.
And I think that's where the problem is. We are reaching the point that we've turned our back on God, going the opposite direction. And He's certainly not going to bless it, and that kind of rejection. And especially He's offered His Son to die for the sins of the world, moved heaven and hell to bring people to eternity with Him instead of
Amen.
apart from Him. And so He's not going to, I don't think, tolerate much longer the turning away from Him, rejecting.
Yes. Question I want to ask you, and we know the rapture is imminent. It could happen at any moment. But how close are we to the rapture, especially in light of what's going on, not only here in America as things get worse and worse, but throughout the world?
Well, Rapture Ready, we get that question every week. How much longer do you think it's going to be?
I figured you did, yeah.
we get that question quite often, and of course I think like I guess the standard seminary answer from the pre-trib perspective is whenever that last soul has come into the kingdom.
Yes.
In this era, then that's when
fullness
it
of the
happens. Only God
Gentiles.
knows. Jesus chose not to know at the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how we can know, but certainly we see all of the issues and events just totally flowing and even flooding, as Daniel said. Like
Yes.
the end will come like a flood, and we see all of those things flooding in one direction, and that shows us just how close we are. So what did Jesus tell us in Luke 21:28? He said, when you see all of these things begin to come to pass, and then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. And of course, we've been seeing those things now for several generations start coming to pass.
Yeah, and then of course the main catalyst would be the regathering and rebirth of the nation of Israel.
There's no question about it, and that's one thing that Zola and this ministry have represented so well in so many ways through television, music, even everything.
Right. Yes.
Zola's wonderful music and your documentaries filmed in Israel, it all have shown just how key I think Israel is to God's overall prophetic plan. And my goodness, anywhere we look now, no matter, I always like to say, no matter which way the cameras turn or the microphones turn, they're eventually going to focus right back there in Israel and Jerusalem. Always, it never fails,
Yeah,
no matter what the situation is.
The stage is being set for the Lord's return. No doubt.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, Brother Terry, how can people get access to Rapture Ready and your ministry and your books? Can you tell us?
Well, our website is raptureready.com. That's raptureready.com, all one word, lowercase. And all you have to do is just put that in your browser or whatever, and you'll find more than, I don't know how many are, 34,000 articles there written by you and others, and very excellent material to study or just to peruse and see where we stand in the world. And my book will be advertised at the time that, probably in a short time before it is released. And by the time this program maybe airs, it will hopefully be there and ready to go.
Well, we'll look for it, and folks, go to raptureready.com. It's an excellent resource for understanding Bible prophecy. Terry, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Todd. Appreciate it.
God bless you, brother.
You too.